peso confidential fund ng DepEd. Ibinalik ng BICAM Committee. At malakondo na pabahay. Target daw ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Mga yotits, take it away!
Bakit na naman yung voiceover natin?
Voiceover na yon.
Si Mike Santillan, yung ating guest coordinator po.
Si Mike na matal ko ng SP. Hi, Mike. SP ko yan sa reaksyon.
Di bali na pong aalog-alog kami ngayong Lunes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mabigat ang pag-uusapan natin. Mabigat.
Terno naman. Bumawi kami dahil terno kami sa hindi sinasadyang pagkakataon po.
Checkers Brothers kami ngayon.
Yes.
Ha? Actually,
Terno kami ni
ba?
Joby.
Hindi naman flannel yun. Sabihin, checkers.
Gingham.
Yan,
Gingham. Yan. Learn a new word every day.
Yan.
Gingham. Pag hindi siya checkered, pero para siyang yung tipong pattern na pumukhang mantel.
Correct.
Yan,
correct.
pang picnic. Gingham.
Alam namin, mga kapatid, mga kawag po, mga wagpoers, na hindi kayo sanay na kami dalawa ni Tito Patrick at ako, si Tito Joby, ay nandito pag Monday kasi hindi off namin to. No? Pero ngayon lang, kailangan namin humalili doon sa ating mga on a mission ng mga titos. Ano po. Si Tito Ed ay may mission dahil may bisita.
May bisita? So, mula sa malayong lugar?
Malayong lugar.
Na minsan lang bibisita
Minsan lang.
kailangan pagbigyan.
Si Tito Manny naman po ay may mission sa ibang parte ng Pilipinas.
Diplomatic buffet ata ulit, ano? Hindi,
Yan.
di ba?
I think so. Tapos si Tito Ronald, wala pa.
May mission.
Hindi pa bumabalik.
Hindi pa bumabalik. Malayong mission nun.
So si Lord, hindi ko masabing get well soon kasi hindi na natin sigurado kung kailangan get well soon. Pero
bilang paalala na...
feel better. Yun na lang.
Actually, wala naman siyang sakit. Pero nag-iingat pa
feel
rin
better.
po. Bilang responsableng si mamamayan, nag-iingat siya. Dahil wala naman siyang sakit.
Wala siyang
Pero,
sakit. Wala siyang sakit.
Paalala lang po na nasa pandemic pa rin tayo.
Of course, of course.
So, pag may mga konting doubts kung baka may nagkaroon ng infection, kailangan, di ba, mag-ingat tayo, self-quarantine na.
Totoo.
Kahit
Pero,
hindi pa positibo.
Sa akin, pag elevator, I think, dapat mag-mask pa rin.
Sa loob.
Kasi di ba public transport, you're still required to do it, di ba? To wear it, Parang feeling ko, elevators, kahit sa condo, kahit sa mall, or
Siguro,
kahit sa,
parang
kahit sa opisina, dapat meron kung doon,
Yes.
I understand kung naglilibot-libot tayo sa mga buildings, kahit wala na, dahil yun yung
gumagalaw naman eh.
Yes.
Iba yung gumagalaw ka, iba yung stationary ka.
Lalo na po,
sa
di ba
isang small enclosed space.
Medyo natatapangan ako pag wala sila tapos siksikan yung elevator. Medyo matapang yun for me.
Kaya, huwag niyo po kakalimutan yung mask niyo.
Lagay nyo lang sa sa mga pocket ninyo yan, just in case. So, yun po. So, may guest kami ha, huwag kayong mag-alala. Hindi kayo magsasawa sa mukha namin dalawa dito.
May backup. Oo. Kaibigan natin tong.
Kaibigan natin. Nandiyan dyan siya, naghahanda lang po. Alam nyo, it takes a town or a city to make someone as good looking as our guest.
Is that, that doesn't sound like a compliment.
Dahil gusto kong inisin talaga ang ating guest. Mamaya inisin ko yan lalo.
Buti hindi ka na rin.
Wala pa, kumakain
Wala pa. Okay.
Mamaya po yan.
Pero mainit pa rin pong usapan.
Yes.
Ang Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Yes.
Okay, kasi bakit mainit? A lot of people are weighing in. Maraming nagbibigay ng kanya-kanyang opinion para sa isang bagay na, aminin natin, hindi madaling maintindihan. Di ba? Up to this point, we're still trying to adequately understand and explain para sa mga tao kung ano itong Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Kaya ang panawagan namin kanina, although nag-guest na nga si Joey Salceda, si Congressman Joey Salceda kay Ted Filon kanina, nanawagan niya kami doon sa mga proponents. So at least yung mga congressmen naman sa kakaalam ng technicalities nito or mga senators, na mag-guest sila to explain, di ba? Hindi naman para kayo ay batikusin,
Yes.
Parang just use that platform to explain dahil yung mga kababayan natin ay humingi ng explanation, The thing is, kanina kasi after ng guesting ni Congressman Joey Salceda kay kapatid Ted Filon, may iba naguluhan palalo. Hindi dahil kay Ted, hindi dahil kay Manong Ted, kundi yung daw mga ginamit ng mga terminolohiya ni Joey. Joey usually explains things well, no?
Right,
Kaya
right.
nga. Usually.
So bakit kaya lalo naguluhan? Hindi, alam mo, hindi ko napanood yung panayam kanina sa Ted Filon.
Yeah.
Kay Joey Salceda. But I just wonder why.
It's a series of denial do sa mga allegation about what will happen do sa funds and stuff. Pero parang hindi nakapagpaalis ng duda. So,
hindi nakatulong
hindi
para
nakatulong.
bawasan ang agam-agam sa anong alam mo, everybody agrees that it's a good idea.
Nagawa ng ibang bansa.
It's a good idea. Dito at least may unity.
Yeah.
Ang lahat ng panig, may unity po. Na it's a good idea, sovereign wealth fund, medyo doon lang nagkakatalo doon sa tama ba yung timing? At saka, syempre, may the political question of kung baka hindi maging safe yung pera.
Yeah. So anyway,
we cannot.
I'm gonna ask nga our producer, si Chester kung handa yung back-to-back shots para ma-playback natin and we'll react doon sa naging pahayag kung we're asking paano ba nagsalita si Joey Salceda, no. Pero Moe, ready na ba yung tatlong shot? Napa-online na ba niya? Okay. So, Tito Patrick, pakinggan muna natin. Well, before, isi-set up ko lang, So, syempre, yung marinig yung interview or soundbite ni Joey Salceda, that's from Manong Ted's interview earlier today. Diba? Tapos, sa ambush interview naman yung kay Ben Jokno, tapos yung kay Philip Medalla, kay BSP Governor Philip Medalla, basta kay Ginoong Medalla, ay interview po exclusive ng Bloomberg Television na kapatid po or kasama sa organisasyon ng One News.
Okay, at ang kanyang posisyon dito sa Sovereign Wealth Fund ay
cautious.
Okay.
Not anti, but cautious. Okay, so pakinggan natin.
Could affect the independence of the central bank. For instance, if they say we will take the central bank's dollars, then what will we use if the reserves are reduced because they've been taken to the sovereign wealth fund?
The BSP is being hypocritical. They are the first one to introduce this concept. In August 2021, they introduced a $30 billion bill, essentially creating the BIFC as a sovereign wealth fund. Huwag na ho tayo maglokohan. Ang BSP ang nagpasimuno ng lahat ng ito.
Isa pang soundbite.
Si Ben Jokno mamaya, ihahabol po namin.
So, okay. may konting caution from BSP Governor Felipe Medalla.
Kasi parang tama naman, ina-acknowledge naman ng lahat ng nilang tatlo na meron talagang push ang BSP nung 2021, at saka 30 billion actually amount na yon nung pondo na gusto nilang i-put up, Pero kaya sinasabing cautious lang si Medalla dahil iba nga naman yung panahon nung 2021 at saka ngayon.
Okay.
Yung mga palitan ng dolyar, kino-consider lang niya. Kaya sabi ko, he's being cautious. He's not being, he's not being parang an opposition to
he's not being hypocritical as a Representative Joey Salceda suggests kasi medyo matapang yung mga binitawang salita ni Congressman Joey Salceda.
Na nilinaw niya along the way, do sa interview, sinabi ni Congressman Joey Salceda na I'm not pertaining to Philip Medalla lang kasi hindi pa naman siya nakaupo noong 2021. Tama naman, noong 2021, it was the time of President Duterte. Iba pa nakaupo doon sa BSP.
So, basically po, ang bottom line, ang pananaw ni Congressman Joey Salceda, who is one of the more influential economists in the House of Representatives, okay? Kahit sino pang Pangulong nakaupo, medyo pinakikinggan siya.
Yes.
Pagdating sa mga bagay-bagay na patungkol sa ekonomiya.
Yeah.
So, medyo mataping yung hihirid niya na parang I think putak ng putak. He used the word in another interview, parang cackling.
Cackling or putak ng putak daw, yung mga critics dito.
Pero once upon a time, some of these critics supported this idea or even proposed this idea. And I think masyadong nire-raise yung mga alarm bells. Gano'n.
Well, sabi ko nga sa STL kanina, no, di ba mo, sabi ko, parang hayaan niya na pumutak yung mga critics or yung mga tao. Usually, yung mga tao naman yan, netizen yan. Para alam niya kung paano sasagutin yung mga yon. Di ba? Para malaman niya yung agam-agam, para masagutin lang yung agam-agam. Di ba? Hindi yung parang dapat nila pakinggan kasi syempre...
Joby, parang maganda gumawa ng scoreboard, ano?
I think so.
Pagdating sa mga leading economic thinkers ng bansa ngayon, sino ang mapupunta doon sa column na mabibilang doon sa column na pabor at sino ang hindi? Okay. So a lot of influential economic thinkers are weighing in.
Yes.
Ang pinaka-latest, Joby, eto, galing kay...
Ang teacher ni Joey.
Ang teacher ni Joey. Ito, analyze natin, Joby, ang
Sige.
naging statement ni dating Pangulang Gloria Arroyo, ngayon ay Pampanga Congresswoman Gloria Arroyo, tungkol nga dito sa Sovereign Wealth Fund. So ito po, partial statement. The success of any fund, sovereign or private, lies in the quality of its management. Good point. Kasi I think ito rin yung mga agam-agam ng mga ibang tao dito nanggagaling. Agree sila sa Sovereign Wealth Fund. Ang tanong lang paano o sino paano hahawakan yung pera?
Yes.
In the current version of the Maharlika Wealth Fund, the President of the Philippines chairs its governing board. Ito yung pagpapatuloy ng statement ni Gloria Arroyo. This is a powerful statement that the highest official of the land will hold himself ultimately accountable to the Filipino people for the performance of the fund. So yun po ang naging posisyon ni Gloria Arroyo. Medyo pabor siya doon sa Pangulo ng Pilipinas becoming the head of this...
And the one accountable, tama ba?
Governing board.
If ever ano man mangyari, accountable siya.
Importante naman talaga the buck stops with the president.
Oo, yung accountability.
It doesn't matter who is the president, pero the presidency has to stop with the presidency.
Yes. Before we welcome our guest, idadagdag ko lang, na-guest ng the chief, ang isa sa mga nag-o-oppose sa lower house, si Congressman Paul Daza, Senior Deputy Minority Leader, guest ng the Chiefs nung Friday. Nagsalita siya tungkol dyan. Realistic siya, matagal na siyang congressman naniniwala siyang papasa. Ano ba, si GMA merong women's block at saka meron siyang lakas block. So doon pa lang parang alam mo na papasa yan. So ang para kay Congressman Daza is really about looking into the items inside that proposal para may safeguards.
Okay.
So yun.
Wag na natin pahintayin yung ating bisita ngayon.
Kasi baka may opinion din siya. Sabi ko, kaya sa natagalan, ulitin ko para mainis.
Alam mo, pinakinggan ko lang kanina yung vlog na ito.
Kanina?
Tukol na rin. Tama-tama ang topic niya.
Yeah.
Mr. Richard Haydarian po. In the house.
In the house.
Dinadamayan tayo sa isang malungkot na Lunes kung saan marami po sa ating mga kasamang dito ay hindi...
Kamusta po? How are you? Good
Hello.
to see you. Kamusta?
Hello.
Hindi niya kayo nagsabi, may stripes party pala tayo dito.
Check
Hindi, kaya ka nakaganyan kasi magdada chief
yung
siya
bag mo,
mamaya.
malapit na. Hindi lang mahalata sa camera.
Yes.
Ay, oo nga pala, may stripes siya.
Thank you,
Kamusta kayo? How are
Richard. At alam namin na biglaan ang imbitasyon ni Tito Patrick sa'yo, pero nandyan ka agad. Thank you very much.
Of course, mukhang kakonti na lang nata kayo na Sunday mo, itong makulit.
May mga mission sila, may mga mission.
Sakitin mo matatandaan yung mga kasama natin.
Alam mo na kung
Kami lang yung
sino
mga
hindi.
bata.
Yeah.
Kami yung mga bunso kasi.
Ano pala to? Bagets Nights pala.
Ayun.
Gen Z
lang yun.
edition
Yun lang
ng
yun.
Wag Po.
Hindi pa paig si Lourdes. Sabihin niya, hindi siya ang pinakamatanda dito. Siya ang pinakabata actually.
Alam mo, Richard, I was listening to your
Yeah.
vlog. I don't know kailan mo pinost yun, pero you had a post or you had a vlog about sovereign wealth fund kasi this is the hot topic, hot conversation now, no? Talagang So, in short, nilatag mo naman lahat eh. I thought it was a very well laid down explanation. The ups and the downs, the upsides and the downsides. So, let's start with yung pick up from what Congressman Gloria Arroyo said. That she likes it. She likes it that the chairman of the governing body is the president.
Right.
Because that shows ultimate accountability on the president.
Na hindi niya papayagan
Do you agree?
pumalpak.
Malaysia, no? I'm not sure how reassuring that. I'm not saying we're the same, but I'm
Right,
saying that.
Well, at
Right,
least alam
right.
natin sino hahabulin.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, anong record ng Pilipinas pagdating sa holding accountable yung mga top-level officials? Of course, we're not saying mangyayaring masama. I'm just saying we don't have a very good record of holding high-level officials to account if in case something goes wrong.
Okay.
So,
Okay, for our viewers, brief them on Malaysia. Kasi nabanggit mo yung Malaysia.
yeah,
Okay,
so,
what happened in Malaysia?
Una-una, di ba, ang dami nagsasabi, mag-parliamentary tayo para maging perfect tayo, para sinasabi, tignan niyo yung Malaysia, di ba?
Parliamentary.
Ngayon lang nagkaroon ng totoong reformist leader after 30 years, yan si Anwar Ibrahim, no? And by the way, fan siya niya ng mga Aquinos, no? I mean, he's a big fan of the Aquinos, etc. He has said many good things about Aquinos. Now, going back to Malaysia, of course, yung Malaysia ay oil exporting country. Yung Petronas sila, Fortune 500 company yan.
Yeah.
Medyo mayaman ng bansa. Their per capita income is 3 times bigger than the Philippines. Lampas sa $10,000 almost by
They
some.
have a sovereign wealth
In
fund.
short, marami silang mga surplus funds, especially dun sa mga oil exports nila and other proceeds, no? So, usually, yung idea kasi ng sovereign wealth fund is kung may sobra kang pera, kaysa na may gagastos mo sa kung ano-ano, or ipasok mo sa economy, magkaroon ng inflation yan, di ba? Ilagay mo na lang into a kind of an investment vehicle, and then bigyan mo sa mga competent na managers, and then pwede sila mag-invest all around the world para kumita itong pera na to, at maganda para sa bayan. But of course, that's a theory. What happened with the sovereign wealth fund of Malaysia is that kung saan-saan pumunta. So if you look at a lot of reports, may libro na about this, pumunta pa sa mga Hollywood movies, yung Wolf of Wall Street, no?
Right,
like,
right.
It's like life imitates art or art imitates...
Totoo pala nangyayari
yung
sa pelikula lang.
sobrang decadent na nangyayari sa movie.
Puro
Parang-
showbiz, puro artista, puro
Mukhang that also
Victoria's
happened.
Secret models, mga ganun sa parties.
Grabe yung ibang klaseng scandal. Of course, there were also a lot of criticism. Kung meron tayong Imelda, thousands of shoes, yung asawa ni Najib, yung dating prime minister nila, Hermes naman. Medyo next level pa yan. Mga Hermes bag, each of them are like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. No, so nangyari dito is yung dating prime minister ng Malaysia, si Najib Razak, who was actually a son of a former prime minister. No, so medyo dynasty na yan. Bumaksak yung, hindi lang yung gobyerno niya, pero bumaksak yung buong ruling coalition na yung OMNO, yung Barisan Nasional, na nagro-rule lang Malaysia for 60 years.
Right on.
So talagang grabe yung scandal. And just recently, of course, na-upheld ng kanilang Supreme Court yung kanilang conviction.
No,
So for the
inaresto
first time,
yung Malaysian Prime Minister.
finally. But it was a long process, and of course, Malaysia is a far more developed country than us, etc.
Yeah.
So ako lang, kung titignan mo lang yung mga kapitbahay natin, the sovereign wealth fund, unless you're Singapore, maybe it's not very encouraging. And what is it for us to think that we're Singapore? Kasi una-una, we don't have the kind of surplus funds and the kind of... Kasi ganito parang hindi ka pwede sumusugal kung konti lang yung pera mo, di ba?
Okay. Okay. Surplus funds, this is one of the main arguments
Yeah.
against it, okay? The
Yeah.
Maharlika
Si Amy Marcos pa nagsabi niya.
I know. So that's what they say. When they say sino may sovereign wealth fund, they look at the top 10, top 5. It's Norway,
Qatar,
mayayaman
China.
na bansa. Okay. Pero there are about 100 countries with
Sovereign wealth funds,
with a
yeah.
sovereign wealth fund, and they're not all rich.
Yeah.
I see the names of countries like Ghana there or other African
Although
countries.
Ghana has oil export proceeds and all, yeah.
Okay, so but we tend to look at the top 10, top 5 when there are actually 100 countries with sovereign wealth funds.
Yeah.
And I imagine that not all of them are as wealthy as Singapore or no. I imagine some of those countries, let's say in the bottom 8, bottom 20,
Right.
are probably in the same income status as the Philippines. So,
Maganda yan. Magandang punto yan. Kaya yung susunod na tanong, okay, sabihin natin, huwag tayo matapobre sa sarili natin.
hindi
May
lang
karapatan
hindi
din
lang
tayo.
pamayaman yan. Hindi lang pamayaman yan.
mga social and pet. Ang tanong, susunod na tanong, saan natin kukunin yung pera na ilalagay sa sovereign wealth fund, di ba? So you can look at countries that are poorer than us, but they may have a very surplus producing sector,
Okay.
whether it's palm oil, whether it's oil,
The
di ba?
GFIs have already said that they have the money.
Sinabi naman.
But if you look at the deficit of GSIS and SSS last year, right? 2021, some of the numbers are pretty big. No? There are a number of economists. Enrico Villanueva, for instance, I think he's a banker. He teaches in UPLB. He has posted the numbers. So if you look at the numbers in the previous years, I'm not sure about it. And wag natin kalimutan nung mga kasagsagan is the wrong way. In the earlier years of President Duterte, di ba, naging malaking issue yung SSS. Exactly. So, my point
Kaya
is,
magtataas ng premium.
so noon pa lang, yung sustainability at saka yung actuarial sustainability ay questionable na. So, to suddenly say everything okay na, I think we need to scrutinize that. No less than admin allies like Jingo Estrada, Senator Jingo Estrada have said, maybe we have to look at it properly, etc. So, wag nating railroad. I'm not saying, so I really like your point na wag tayong matapobre sa sarili natin. If we have sectors that are creating a lot of money or if we can get it responsibly from somewhere, then so be it, right?
Yeah.
And that's why actually kung balikan natin si Ma'am Aroy, sorry, I'm cutting it. Actually, minention niya si Bam Aquino, di ba? Bakit sila? Depende yan. What about, di ba? Yung what about
In 2017, I think,
2016, no? So,
Senator Bam Aquino had a proposal for a sovereign wealth fund. Okay?
na hindi Maharlika or Talan
okay.
or whatever yung pangalan. Because the name
I'm gonna
is...
ask about the name later on.
Yeah. Malaking issue yan. Exactly.
Bagay ata yun, ano?
Hindi Philippine Sovereign Wealth Fund, hindi National, hindi lang Maharlika, no? No, I mean, Bam Aquino did. But remember, Bam Aquino's proposal was dapat ito ay tied dun sa General Appropriations Act, yung sa budget. So, bago tayo mag-isip ng sovereign wealth fund, tignan natin yung buong budget natin at mag-allocate tayo na accordingly. Hindi yung pupunta ka sa Land Bank of the Philippines, pupunta ka GSIS, oy, contribute kayo. You know what I'm saying? Cough it up.
Isn't the rationale simply this, that this government financial institutions like DBP, Land Bank, SSS at saka GSI
Should be investing
their money anyway?
Yeah.
Isn't that the rationale? That dapat nag-i-invest yung mga GFIs
So, yun
ito.
na nga.
And then the whole point of a sovereign wealth fund is, dali lang, buuin na natin sa isang pondo para mas malaki ang returns. I don't know, I guess, no?
Kaya nga,
So-
well, parang sabi nga nila parang may mga good points naman, PP, ano. Kaya lang, parang tama si Philip Medalye. Parang hindi mo pwede kumpara yung time ni ano ba yung economic conditions nung time nung BAM? Ano yung economic
2016,
conditions nung time nung
2017,
2021?
Both domestically and internationally. Kasi domestically, we had a very stable debt to GDP ratio. Inflation was within control. Ang swerte ni Pangulong Duterte, he inherited a stable
A good,
macroeconomic condition. Hindi
Now,
perfect.
okay nung 2021.
Now, okay, I'll
It's
pick up
very
from that
different from
argument.
now.
I'll pick up from that argument. Ibang
Sige lang.
economic conditions ngayon, economic times. But isn't this precisely the time for us to invest outside?
Okay, which brings me to this point. Diba, we also have a record of many sovereign wealth fund investments going south, not working. On one hand, you have a lot of this yung mga vanity purchases. The Saudi sovereign wealth fund just bought the Newcastle United or something like that in the UK, which was a big issue. I'm not sure if that's papogi talaga yan or invest. So we have a record whereby the richer countries are kind of wasting it around. We also have a record of a lot of investments in the US, in the Wall Street, in the tech sector. A few years ago, ngayon, all of it is going bust because baksak yung stock markets, diba? Now, I can see yung point nila, di bili tayo ngayon kasi baksak yung stock market. But my point is, actually, the international environment right now is what they call polycrisis. Kasi multiple crises. May Russia, Ukraine. May China tech. You know what I'm saying? So much is happening that ang point ng tao is that, di sana yung land bank, what are they supposed? They're supposed to have agricultural sector, domestic. Then doon kayo mag-focus. Di ba sabi nga ni Pangulong Marcos, may problema tayo sa agricultural sector. Like may mandato na itong mga to eh. GSIS, SSS are there to
Which
take
is the
care
point
of
of the sister. Super ate ng
Exactly.
Pangulo.
So ako, I waited pa for the ate to say. And then I came in. I said, you know what? I don't want to jump in because I don't want to look like nega.
Yeah.
Because in principle, it makes sense. But the devil is in the details and I want to see more. Nung nag-comment na iba, doon na ako pumasok sa debate. So if you notice, I was very quiet in the first 24 hours to 48 hours. Kasi ayoko yung ginagawa ng iba na basta anything this government says, masama or negative. I think that's unfair naman. By the way, speaking of things that this government got right, somehow, yung peso, di ba expectation ni Salceda, abot ng 65, 68.
55
It's now
ngayon.
55. So, and one reason, of course, maraming reason, OFW remittances, yung China, but one reason was because si Secretary Jokno very clearly said, we're willing to commit $10 billion, etc. So that calmed down the markets. BSP, well, medyo nag-osmosis yan. So, my point is, there are good things also happening in this administration that we have to give credit to.
Don't you think we have good economic managers, regardless of
Yeah.
the politics that's in Malacanang at different times?
Well, yun din ang sinabi nila
There's
kay
been
Pangulong.
continuity in economic policy after all, since 86. we've got basically the same economic managers, different faces, but they probably come from the same school,
Literally
economics,
same.
with the same market philosophy. So, shouldn't we take some comfort in the kind of economic managers that we have? And they seem to be backing this thing.
The president still is the commander-in-chief. Diba yung issue natin under President Duterte was he had pretty okay technocratic team and then biglang sabi niya, drugs, patay, US, mumurahin niya. It's hard to calm down the markets or reassure the business community if the top political guy is saying things
You
that
think
are...
so?
Because it's all about business confidence, right?
Okay.
I mean, for instance, President Duterte himself, look at his speech sa Lotto Tower in Korea, when he visited Korea, I think 2019 or something like that. He admitted that the drug war in the Philippines was making a lot of Korean investors jittery.
Okay.
If you look at the statement...
So it does matter.
It does
Baka
matter
naman
so
kasi
much.
we just went totally full retard during the Duterte
Dahil
years.
medyo on-PC natin. No, so my point is, it matters if sync yung presidente sa mga technocratic team. Kaya sinasabi ko, in fairness kay Pangulong Marcos Jr., I don't know if he graduated really from all of those schools, but he attended PPE, political science, politics, economics, and
He was exposed at the very least.
exactly. And then nag-Wharton siya. I don't know how you can Wharton in masters if you don't have undergrad. But anyway, may exposure siya. Oh, Sandro, he's not the major in economics, but he studied still in London School of Economics. So my basic familiarity in the same way na ako as a political scientist, I was forced to have familiarity with basic economics.
Yeah, right.
We have to study, not to mention regression, everything.
A few books
Exactly.
here and there.
Here and at least, diba? Naging prof ko pa si Mamunsud and mga others. So, my point is, at least with this president, he's literate in macroeconomic language. And that's why feeling he wants to do something that proves that. Kaya nga, ang tawag ko kay Pangulong Marcos is not authoritarian populist. Ang tawag ko sa kanya, technocratic populist. Very different, very different. Because most of the populists you have no idea about economics.
Does that
Trump,
statement-
Bolsonaro, Duterte.
Okay, does
Imran
that
Khan.
statement, won't that statement of yours describing this president as a technocratic populist, isn't that kind will that get you in
Oxymoron.
trouble with with some of your followers, I guess?
No. I mean, it's not necessarily positive or negative, depending on how you look at it, right? What I'm saying is that you're trying to combine two, and by the way, that's not unique to the Philippines. Some have accused even Macron of France of playing it technocratic populist. No? So, the word Maharlika, right? Clearly, it harkens back to the father. That's a nostalgia.
Nag-uusapan natin siya kanina,
So,
Patrick.
hindi naman basta-basta lang ginamit yung word ng Maharlika. May punto dyan. And that's where you can see this Marcosian, nostalgist, strongman, populist, golden age. That's clearly populism. But this sovereign wealth fund, investment mechanism, and let's not forget, Arroyo, well, Tita Arroyo, I call her because we're kind of related. She has a PhD in economics. She knows what she's talking about when it comes to at least basic economics, etc. So her coming in is kind of like bolstering yung credibilidad ng mga economic arguments na binibigay ni Sandro, ni Martin Romualdez, etc. etc.
Joey Salceda is there too.
Joey Salceda is Joey Salceda, right? Like,
What does that mean? Ano ibig sabihin niyan?
I mean,
Sabi ko nga, he usually,
Doesn't that
parang
count?
capable naman siya to explain.
he's a good economist, but his prediction record, I'm sorry, Joey, it has not been very good recently. He said Sara is gonna run for the president. Hindi nangyari yan. He said
That's
magsisix
politics. But as far as economics is concerned, don't you think it's gonna more...
Oh, he said, di ba,
Solid.
magsi-65 tayo? O, nasan tayo ngayon? 55.
Okay,
Diba?
end of...
So,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So ito, I understand na...
Mahal ko yan si Joey yan. Pero I have to be brutally honest.
Hoy, Joey, mahal ka namin kaya lang. Hindi ka nagpapakita
Galit yan
lately.
sa akin, di ko tinext that.
I think there's a... Puntahan natin yung punto na, well, tayo, trabaho natin aralin
Okay,
yan.
yung devil's advocate, ginawa mo sa akin. I like that. Challenging. I like that.
Good.
Yeah, that's what we do. See, I'm very sober.
I know, that's why we have you here.
Exactly.
Because there are very few people po na measured yung kanilang palagi responses.
Okay.
Kasi kadalasan, ganito lang hot or cold, right?
Yeah,
or wrong,
I'm
left or right.
lukewarm, yeah.
Hindi pwedeng ganon. Kasi komplikado po yung mga issue.
Exactly.
And we will try to take time to explain the complications. The details, like I said. The devil is in the details.
Yung,
And it's-
yung
Yeah.
details, yung complications, talagang trabaho natin para asikasuhin yan,
Exactly.
intindihin yan. Pero meron ding communication aspect itong issue na to.
Right.
Hindi ko maintindihan kung
okay.
ano ang pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno to make the people understand. Kasi ngayon talaga, yung tao na yung nagsasabi na parang, okay ba yun na gagawin natin yan?
In short, Dapat kasi hindi maharlik ang well fund ang
Yun.
ginagawa.
That's my point eh.
At saka dapat, Joey...
You think it would have mattered?
No, my point is obviously they were thinking about their own base, not tuwan-tuwa sa Marcos legacy. But you have to think about the other side. This is a very technocratic economic issue. Di sana mas neutral yung name pa lang, di ba? National Sovereign Fund, Vision 2014 National. You know, yung mga, ang dami ko maisip eh. I can think of 10 others na neutral. So immediately may pagka-Marley ka, then you have a Romualdez, then you have a Marcos, then you have the, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying they ask for it, but they can't ask for it, right?
Kasi aside from Amy Marcos, you have the likes of Jason sa pinakita ko sa inyo, di ba? Na hindi, alam niyo naman, supporter yun, pero hindi sa pabor na galawin yung pondo ng GSIS at saka ng SSS. Ano. So may mga ganun. So parang
Is that a
papaano
valid
ba?
point?
Yeah.
Not to touch because I know that GSIS, and they have said so themselves, na yung GSIS po at SSS, talaga kailangan nila pagulungin yung pera para mas kumita, para mag-benefit dun sa mga beneficiaries po. Is that a valid argument?
No, well, unless they can assure us that there'll be a clear ROI. You know what I'm saying? That's my point eh. Kasi risky yun eh.
Sino ba
It
yung
could be
bumibili ng mga
hit or miss
art?
eh.
Artwork and stuff. Di ba
GSIS.
sila? It's GSIS.
Alam mo, yung binili
Amosolo ba yan?
ni
Exactly.
Garcia,
Malaki kasi yan, yeah.
binili ni Garcia, I forgot his first name,
Yung dating GSIS.
yung one Luna painting na yan sa Hong Kong na maraming tumira sa kanya. He was criticized.
No, if you go to that building, ang gaganda ng artwork dyan.
but that artwork, that Luna painting is already
Good investment.
is good investment.
That was a good investment.
That was a good investment. I
Yung
forgot
pala,
po
hindi na nila kailangan ng sovereign wealth fund.
Let's
May
all
sarili
buy
silang
art. Let's buy
dealer.
art.
I'm saying, they're already entrepreneurial. Bakit ka pa magdamay ng iba?
Pero you see the short-sightedness sometimes of critics. Diba?
Yeah,
Some of the criticisms are also populist. Diba?
Yeah, exactly.
They're populist. Kaya,
Exactly.
marami nagugutom. Hindi mo nung... It's as if yung pera ng G5 po hindi
That's
mo
a
yung
good
pang-ayuda.
That's a very good
Diba?
point.
So-
Kaya nga tama si Jove na the PR mattered eh. Kasi parang
course.
you gave ammunition to the opposition kaagad to paint this... Kasi eto, we just came from confidential funds issue. Tapos may Coco Levy fund ka bang
Ganito.
issue, di ba? Kaya nga joke, anong next? Talano, Gold Reserves.
bilang ano,
You know what I'm saying?
Sana yun ang tinawag na Taliano Wealth Fund.
Exactly.
bilang producer,
Exactly.
bilang producer, ano
Right.
po, we were targeting Joey Salceda and Stella Kimbo. Nung palang hindi pa pumuputok. Parang meron palang info about ito yung pinupush na naibe-break na nila Sandro ito at saka ni speaker. Ayaw lang magsalita, ayaw ni Joey mag-guest. Tapos kung kailan sumabog na, di ang hirap habulin nun, explanation-wise, di ba?
Parang damage control ang dating.
Yeah. Anyway, pakinggan muna natin. Well,
Ay,
we're
sorry,
talking
yung
about
mga
the
viewers
cabinet
natin.
secretaries, at para lang makumpleto natin yung
naman, para
picture.
fair tayo.
Let's look at and listen to Secretary Jokno's soundbite today.
Ay, maraming soundbites.
Hindi pa na nababasa ata yung bill eh. Kasi marami mga ganun nagko-comment na hindi pa nabasa yung bill eh, di ba? So out of ignorance, magko-comment ka. I'm not saying na ignorante siya, ano ha.
I guess he has a point. Right? May punto po yan si Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno. Na
So, ano na yun,
kadalasan shooting from the hip din. Marami rin ganun, di ba?
Well, I mean, the BSP Governor Medalla had chipped in. Does he have an information na hindi niya binasa yung bill?
No, but maybe it's not BSP Governor because I think the reaction of, in fairness to BSP Governor,
Kanina,
Felipe
pinlayback
Medalla,
natin.
and you pointed it out, measured din yung kanyang reaction.
Yung concern lang niya is tignan natin yung economic fundamentals
now,
now, tsaka dati.
Yes.
Mga ganyan. Pero
He's
hindi
not-
na sinabi na,
He's not going into dapat hindi paglaruan ng pondo ng bayan or something. There are no
Nothing like
moderate
that.
statements
I get
like
what
that.
you're saying. Yun nga yung problema eh. Now, I mean, even on the issue of inflation, parang unfair naman lahat i-blame sa administration ngayon. Because obviously there are exogenous factors. Obviously there's the legacy of Duterte. Ilan months pa lang itong bagong administration. Obviously it takes time before, kunyari, if change may interest rates, it takes some time before the effect will be. Yung US nga, ilang beses So, you're absolutely right na yung opposition or some opposition people, some economists, some experts, they're also playing the demagogic game, di ba? Na parang anything negative, immediately kasalan ng government. And and they completely
Jump
ignore.
into it.
Kaya kanina I posted of course marami nagalit sa atin, but I posted like, shouldn't we credit the government na we stabilize the peso? Biglang, hindi, dahil sa remittances yan.
That's part of it.
That's part of it.
That's part of
but
it.
you
Oo,
cannot
ano
say
talaga yan
wala at all positive
that's part
contribution
of
ng
it.
government. That's unfair, di ba? At saka October pa lang nag-stabilize na tayo. I've been following because I travel all the time. So I see the dollar exchange right every month. So I saw from late October pa lang, especially after joke, among others, signal that we're willing to defend peso, nag-calm down yung markets. Yun nga yung problema ko. So on one hand, masaya ako ng yung economic issue ay hindi naging elitistang topic na yung mga experts na. I like that. Because I agree with my colleague si Dr. Lisandro Claudio, historian, was saying like, bakit trained economists lang dapat, policy issue yan.
Right,
At the
right,
same
right.
time, you're absolutely right. There has to be an educated debate and discourse about this. And kaya nga ako, even in my vlogs, I discuss the history of sovereign wealth funds,
Oo,
diba?
tama yan.
Bakit Norway may ganon? Dahil sa nangyari sa Netherlands, yung tinatawag na Dutch disease. Kumita ka na malaki, pinasok.
Ganyan po yan eh.
Yeah.
Ganyan
And
dapat
then yung sa Asia, dahil sa Asian financial crisis. So ako, that's what I always do. I give the background, and then bahala na kayo mag-decide. Parang octopus, on one hand, on the other hand, on
Right,
one hand.
right.
And when it comes to policy issues, it's 50 shades of balancing.
Right.
No? So it's a question of whether it's more alanganin or hindi. And for me, that's the best way to move forward. I didn't expect to have this very sober discussion sa Wag Po. Akala ko puro soundbite lang tayo. But I think this is the best sober discussion I've had so far on a policy issue. So salamat. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, that's why you're here. That's why we had you here. Because kung hindi, kakanta na lang kami ni Joby. Pero bago kami mapakanta magbe-break muna kami at babalik po ang Wag Po. With Professor Richard Vidal. pupunta yung PDF nila, yung pork barrel nila. Para sa mga, ano ba yan, Joey, what projects are these? Kung ano na lang, di ba?
Yung mga NGO projects.
Mga NGO projects.
Nasira yung
They don't-
NGO eh.
Yeah,
Dahil sa
right.
mga pangalan na yung term na NGO.
Right.
Then, I mean, for me, ang concern kasi dito is people are hoping that at least the Senate is kind of the last lever of checks and balance. No? Yung idea is that super dominated naman ng literally. I mean, if sobrang sync yung president and yung lower house eh. No? And lower house tends to bandwagon with the president.
Right.
And the Senate generally, because these are the future presidential votes, they want to project more independent. They do. But of course, the fear has been over the past 6 years that even the Senate is kind of toying
You're
the
sensing
line.
that.
I mean, you can see the trend lines over time, or at least that's
This is not just a function of who's president.
it's a trend line. Yeah,
It's a trend.
exactly. Yeah. So, and of course, you have a president who won with 60% of the vote, and you have a vice president who won with even bigger percentage of
This
the
is my
votes.
question to you, Richard. Ikaw yung political analyst, ikaw yung malalim pinag-aralan sa politika. Okay, you're mentioning that. By design, it's supposed to be checks and balances.
Yes.
The House of Representatives, Senate, pati Malacanang, checks and balances yan, di ba?
And judiciary.
And judiciary. Ganyan. Ngayon, you're sensing a trend na pati yung Senado ngayon, hindi na lang ang House of Representatives, ang Senado ngayon nakikisama na madalas sa Malacanang.
I mean, look at the minority.
Right.
Dalawa lang sila sa Senate.
Well, nakita natin na hindi ganyan nung nakaraang administrasyon, pero Duterte tayo.
We're talking
Nag-start
about
siya.
trend line, diba?
We're talking about a trend
line.
na,
Yes.
na it goes beyond Duterte
2019
or maybe it
onwards
might go
especially.
Yeah, so isn't it just a sign that really our political culture as Filipinos is not so much based on checks and balances but more of political consensus, cooperation and collaboration if you wish.
Ako naman, of course, there's a realistic...
Or survival ng mga
Yeah,
distrito.
yeah.
Exactly.
Call it
There's a
survival.
realistic
Survival ng
appreciation
mga
of
distrito.
yung realidad ng politika, let's just put it in those terms. But the other thing is, no, kasi let's be honest, may pagka-dysfunctional kasi yung democracy natin before President Duterte. Kaya nga nanalo si Duterte. Because dysfunctional to begin with eh.
Okay, we've
We
heard
would not
that.
have been
Dysfunctional, party system is weak, it's dysfunctional,
and the
democracy.
opposition is, obstructionist,
Yeah, obstructionist,
nega lang
okay.
ng nega. So people lost confidence in the idea of checks and balance, di ba? So I think that's where President Duterte could come in and say,
Are we expecting too much by expecting a checks and balance system that was designed for American American Republican democracy, whatever, to just simply take root here and end up looking exactly how it was in the U.S. I mean, don't you think that our political culture is very different from?
It's
from
different kasi
it's different.
tuwing
We're tribal.
yeah, but
We're community.
ganyan lang. Watch Gangs of New York, Boardwalk Empire. Ang US, mas malala pa yung corruption sa kanila.
Right.
Look at the age of, robber barons.
Right.
Pero,
Right.
nasa
We're
shock pa ba
forgetting
kayo?
how messed up US was. It's not like, I mean, it's still messed up, but like, it improved in the 1930s pa lang. Before that,
May pinanggalingan sila.
may pinanggalingan sila, di ba?
Na magulo rin.
Yung mga Irish American, may sariling kampo, yung mga Italian.
Tammany
yung mga Jew-
Hall, the corruption.
Pero-
literally, Office of Mayor was up for, sorry, I mean, my point is kasi we romanticize the West and say, hindi tayo katulad mga yan. For me, I have two problems. First of all, you don't know yung pinanggalingan nila sa
Right,
trapo
right.
rin.
Yeah.
At pangalawa, medyo racist na sabihin mo, yung mga Amerikano lang are entitled to some
Right.
functional checks and balances. Tayo mga Pinoy, wala pa tayong
Kumbaga, sinasabi-
balimbingan na lang all the way.
No,
Right.
kasi-
Ang sinasabi ni Richard, yung mga Amerikano, kala nyo, ganyan na sila dati. May
Sabog din mga yan dati.
Magulo rin dati yan.
Yeah, just watch
Because
their
if there's something real about our politics, kapag ka nanalo na kung sino man ang nanalo sa eleksyon na Pangulo, doon lahat
bandwagon.
mag-gravitate. No? So usually, hanggang sa
And
pag-approve
it
ng
might
mga
not be wrong.
bagay-bagay,
You know, Jovi, it
depende sa
might
ganon.
not be wrong. That's my point is, that could be our political culture. Consensus, cooperation, collaboration, if you wish, balimbingan, but it could be the future of our
Again,
political
if
culture.
it produces results, then you can justify
Right.
to saying that. So, for instance, Japan had the LDP, yung party for long. But there was a party, there was an ideology, there was a policy. Yes, may mga, of course, traditional politics.
Japan, I think, I don't know which rank, but there's a top 3 countries in the study of this Ateneo professor of party shifting.
yeah.
Okay?
Sure.
Where is it most prevalent?
Sure.
Okay, there are countries like the Philippines, of course,
Yeah.
Russia, and Japan.
Sure. And
So Japan has
keeps
a
on
high
saying-
incidence of party switching too.
But the reason Japan is successful is because they have a strong bureaucracy na kahit
There you
sabog
go.
yung politician nila, they take care of the job. Yung mga
Yes.
nasa Department of Finance nila, yung mga nasa Ministry of International Trade and Industry.
So-
Hindi sila umiba. Mga eksperto yan, mga matatalino yan, at saka patriotic. Problema sa atin,
Don't we have the beginnings of a strong bureaucracy?
no, my point is when you have
Naku.
thousands of appointees
Okay.
at papalit-palit every admin,
Sorry.
you're weakening the bureaucracy.
Sorry na ako na naman ang KJ, mga kapatid
No, no,
at mga
problem.
tito. Pero kailangan ko i-cut yung conversation kasi that's a good topic for another episode.
Kaya babalik pa ho si
Kaya babalik
Richard
siya,
sa
no?
atin.
Ano yun? Susulat ka ba natin?
Pero kailangan natin i-cut doon kasi ayoko naman na masabihan tayo, hindi tayo pumapansin.
Kasi mahabang usapan yan, ayoko na rin.
Ayoko sabihin ng
matulog
mga
na tayo.
tao. Ayoko sabihin ng mga followers natin, hindi natin sila pinapansin tulad na nangyari.
Yeah, let's
doon
go
sa
to the question, yeah.
video ng mga player ng volleyball na hindi daw pumansin sa mga tao. We don't
Ay,
want
hindi.
that
Hi
to
po.
happen.
Hi, hello.
Mag-hi, hello tayo, no?
Hello.
Richard Haydarian and PP. Pag lumabas tayo
Yun.
dyan, mag-hi tayo sa kanila. So, hindi tayo gagaya dyan dahil babati tayo ng mga followers natin. Ha? Baka naman, hindi, baka naman naka-earphone,
Yeah,
so hindi talaga
exactly.
naririnig.
Kasi-
Ano?
Dapat ba batiin?
Tsaka mainit. Ganun.
Dapat ba batiin? I mean, sorry, no?
Hindi, feeling nila maging feelingero sila if nagbati. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
oh.
So,
sometimes
parang
you're
di ka
shy.
nag-a-assume.
Sino ba naman ako na
Oo,
magbabati?
di ka dapat nag-a-assume.
Exactly.
And what are athletes? Are they should they be celebrities
They
first
are
or
already-
They are
artists?
now. They're really celebrities
They're
yung
known
level
na
nila. Anyway, bati tayo mga kapatid. Tito Patrick, batiin mo ng masarap.
Pag-argumento pa sana ako.
Oh, sorry.
Batiin po natin ang masarap, sina Wilma Barba de Quiros, Eric Malvarosa, Michael Vallarta Concepcion, si Josephine Ramirez Bolisa at
Yan.
si Jess Riva.
Yun.
Anyway,
Hello.
puntahan natin. Tigasan kayo. Okay. Si Ariel Reyes ay taga-Agusan del Sur, si Joseph Espedido, taga-Kuwait, at si Gabriel Anicete, taga-Pampanga. Taga-Batangas naman po si Seria Miranda at si Hannah Munoz ay taga-Cebu.
Yan. Okay,
Richard, next sa'yo. Palumpia ka.
Lumpia ka naman. Ay, happy birthday kay Arian Colombiran. Is that
Hello,
correct?
Arian.
Yeah.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday,
Natin pala yan.
Oo.
Kay Attorney Ana Mari Santos, kay TJ Cabrera, and kay Phoenix Mateo Dado, 9th from Ninang Mari Santos.
So bata
Yes,
pa to. Happy
Arian
birthday.
Kalumbiran po ang
Gen Z.
executive
Producer.
producer ng The Big Story.
The big story. Okay, next
Happy
po.
birthday po.
Gusto ko gabi-gabi. Si Dan Bon, si Carlo and Cathy Cristobal, si Ronel Umali, Marlon Manawag at Ermat niyang si Malu, at si Joseph Orly Espedido. Thank you for always watching, mga kapatid. Richard, ikaw na tumuling muli.
Tapusin mo na, Richard.
Misspelled yan. Baka naman ma-mispronounce ko rin yan. Ayan, kay Mang Jose. Happy Monday. Yo, it's more
fun in the
Oy, ako
Philippines.
ako nagsabi yan.
Sinabi niya yan.
Akin yan. Na-copyright ko na yan. It's more fun in the Philippines.
Promote lang natin. Kung nabiti kayo sa usapan na to, Richard will be going sa
Kabila,
kabilang studio for conversation with our chiefs naman tungkol sa same topic.
Masaya dito.
Pero
Mas masaya dito.
English dun eh.
mas respectable ako dito. Ay, doon pala. Hindi dito.
English doon, Richard.
So ilang days na lang, Tito
Tsaka
Patrick.
Walang pulutan. 20 days na lang po. Christmas na. Hataw Edlingaw.
Yan. So mga kapatid, thank you very much for watching. Baka bukas po, dumami na kami ulit dito sa Lamesa. See you tomorrow, mga kapatid. Thank you. Richard Haydarian